Hello everyone, NinjaNick333, and we are here with the first top 8 match of the Pokemon International Championships in Europe. As always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, because that really does help out the channel. We have Robert Kinbrum here on the right, who was a national champion, and then Alex Szymanski, who has a ton of different accomplishments under his belt as well. We have a Arceus V-Star Duraludon VMAX versus Miraidon EX Regieleki VMAX matchup going on here. So we will have to see exactly how that goes. I think this is probably the most interesting matchup from top 8 to be on stream. So we will be seeing a deck that can one-shot Arceus versus a deck that has a Vulpix that cannot be hit by any of the Pokemon in in the Miraidon deck, because all of the attackers in Miraidon do have abilities. Even the except for the only one is the Regieleki V. The basic Regieleki V can hit into the Vulpix. So hopefully by this point in the tournament, you are aware that Alex Szymanski is on the Vulpix and what the Vulpix does. So you should be prioritizing getting a Regieleki V set up to do the 100 attack that does that, where you take 100 less as well. It does cost 3 energy, but setting up one of those on the bench while just attacking for one-shots until the Vulpix comes up should be the way that you can win. So I think that this is probably a very 50-50 matchup. It's really just, does Alex get up the Vulpix, and does Robert have the out to the Vulpix? If so, Robert should be favored if the Vulpix doesn't come into play. Alex should be favored if the Vulpix does come into play. But Robert does have a potential out to that. So again, we'll just have to see exactly how the matchup plays out. So I'm really interested to see this. This is really cool. So we are going to Nest Ball. I'm a little surprised that Alex put the Vulpix down before checking his deck to see if the Vulpix V-Star is prized. But I think even if it is prized, you want the V down either way, because Robert would be forced to boss it up and kill it as soon as possible, which makes it so your other Pokemon aren't being targeted. And that's, of course, if the Vulpix V-Star is prized. And if it is prized, you could always take it before the Vulpix gets knocked out and be able to evolve into it. So yeah, either way, benching the Vulpix is definitely fine here. But it does have only 190 HP. So got to be careful of that. It should be able to get knocked out by a Miraidon even without any boosts. But then again, so can all of the Pokemon V that Alex has in play. The Duraludon is pretty good just for the fact that it has 330 HP and does 220 damage. So that will be able to one-shot any of the attackers Robert puts up, unless he wants to attack with a Regieleki VMAX, which has its own high HP as well. We are seeing, of course, the turn 1 Ultra Ball is getting Miraidon. Miraidon then gets another Miraidon and a Regieleki. The second Miraidon will now search the deck for another 2 lightning Pokemon. He may leave a bench spot open for Radiant Greninja, as long as that's not prized. But it looks like he's choosing not to this game. This is, I believe, the 3rd time we've seen Robert on stream. And I know that, well, it might have been a different player the first day. I don't remember the name of the player I saw. No, I think it was. I think it was the same Robert each time. But, he has not been necessarily playing super... I think he played well the second time he was on stream. But the first Miraidon we saw on day 1, which I think was him as well, definitely did not play very well at all. He played pretty atrociously. So we are going to use Fleet-Footed to draw an additional card. We do have an electricity generator, or electric generator, I guess it's called. Look at the top 5 cards of our deck. Put lightning energies, 2 lightning energy onto your bench lightning Pokemon in any way you'd like. So we are getting a turn 1 charge up of the Miraidon EX, which is pretty great. Alex had to double check and read the card because he's probably never faced a Miraidon deck at all. He's probably like, does it say 2? Wow, that's a pretty good max elixir. Yeah, back in my day, we only had max elixir. It looked at the top 6, but it only got 1 energy, and it only went to a basic Pokemon. That's what I would be saying. I played a lot of Darkrai in my day, I'll tell you. Dark Patch and max elixir. Bread and butter. Wait, which one's the bread and which one's the butter? I don't want to think about that right now. So we do have Cram-O-Matic. Robert does play 3 Cram-O-Matics in this deck, which is a very odd inclusion, I would say. Although you gotta get to your out somehow. And this deck just does not seem to draw well ever. So flipping a coin to potentially get a better card is his way to try to do it. And now he just whiffed. So he got rid of Electric Generator for no reason. So Robert is playing Escape Rope, and in this position that Alex is in, it's actually pretty bad because now that forces up either the Vulpix to get one shot or the Duraludon to get one shot. So he is going with the Duraludon. He's valuing the Vulpix a little bit more. And the thing here is, if he does have the ability to evolve the Vulpix V-Star, he can actually attack for free and use the V-Star power, which does 70 for each Pokemon V your opponent has in play, and just one shot without having to attach for turn, which is just hilarious, actually. Yeah, the basic one also has an attack that does 10 plus 50 if your opponent is a V for free. But yeah, Silvery Snowstar, 70 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon V in play, not affected by weakness or resistance, for 0 energy, because the regional variants are the only Pokemon that are printed these days that have 0 energy attacks. They were a thing back in the day. A lot of baby Pokemon had free attacks. But yep, we are using Silvery Snowstar to one-shot Miraidon EX, while attaching an energy to our benched Arceus. And yeah, this is a pretty good spot for Alex to be in. He won't be able to use Snow Mirage to lock out the abilities, but it's going to force Robert to get another Electric Generator. He's already used one and just recklessly discarded another one. So we're going to have to see if he's even able to knock out this Vulpix at all. As long as Alex has a switch card in hand, he could just switch into Arceus, attach another energy, and then Trinity Nova. And since he's only attaching basic energy, he can one-shot the Raikou V as well. So you can just see how amazingly that Alex is playing in this game. And that he definitely knows his matchups in and out here. Knows that it's perfectly safe to use this V-Star power here. It's got a lot of HP. He's going to force his opponent to have a lot of stuff, especially since that one Pokemon was the only Pokemon that had any energy in play. He was perfectly fine using his V-Star power to knock it out and make sure that no more energy are in play from Robert. Looks like we're going to start with the Fleet-Footed here. Just draws another Lightning Energy. We have 3 of those and 4 of those in hand actually now. 4? Yeah. Chooses to attach one of them. Really needs another Electric Generator that gets 2 hits. 2 hits it needs. So now he needs to use Cram-O-Matic, discarding the Switch card to get the Electric Generator, which needs to hit 2 energy, and then he can Serena away the 3 energies in hand to draw 5. Looks like he is going to Switch cart first. So now he can't Cram-O-Matic, so just gonna Serena. Looks like he's gonna Serena, discarding 2 cards to draw, or no, 3 cards. Oh, he is getting rid of the Cram-O-Matic to draw 4. Just gets another dead hand. Yeah, just gets another really dead hand. He could have also used Miraidon to thin the deck of 1 more card, but he does draw the Ultra Ball, which will allow him to find the Radiant Greninja. So actually not a misplay by not using Miraidon's ability. He wanted to leave that spot open for the potential Radiant Greninja, and now he can discard one of those energies to draw 2 more cards to hopefully find that electric generator. So yeah, I think the only real misplay from Robert so far was using that Cram-O-Matic turn 1 when he didn't need to. Just because he discarded the electric generator with it. He could have discarded anything else with it and it would have been fine. He draws Beach Court and a Regieleki V. So yeah, another 2 dead cards for right now. He's going to have to leave that Eleki VMAX active just as a wall so that nothing gets knocked out. But I think we already saw a boss's orders in hand even too. Did we? Or am I crazy? No, I must be crazy. Okay. If he had the boss, you know he would have used that. Unless he doesn't have the energy. But attacking into the Regieleki VMAX and just doing like 200 damage is perfectly fine. Yeah, he has no energy in hand, so even if there is a boss in there, it doesn't matter. Uses the Cold Resist Experiment, finds the energy that he needs. You're trying to decide which 2 cards to Lost Zone. I think getting rid of the Judge is definitely safe because you know that this Miraidon deck just bricks like a rock. You do have an Ultra Ball as well. You can try to start loading up an additional attacker as well. But your opponent has already taken 2 prize cards, so you might just want to try to win the game off of the back of just the Arceus and the Vulpix. You could also get down the Radiant Gardevoir, which would make it so the Raikou V has a harder time one-shotting things. Looks like we are going to Ultra Ball away 2 Arceus V-Stars. Perfectly fine to do that. We don't need that. Looks like a lot of the lost cities are on the bottom of the deck. He wants to see what resources his opponent has used so he can make the correct decision on what Pokemon to get. He could always get the Duraludon V and then try to set that up. But he already has a lot of mental energy just on his Arceus here. He is planning on attaching a 3rd basic metal. And I think the deck only plays 4 or 5. He definitely needs, I think, 2 to use the VMAX's attack. So he can put 1 water energy onto the Vulpix, and he's going to go 1 metal and 1 fighting to the Duraludon. He is playing Raihan as well, I suppose, so we could always use Raihan to get one of those metal energies back and load up the Duraludon VMAX. And the Duraludon VMAX can also make it so Robert has to play on an odd prize game, because then he could take a 3 prize knockout after hitting the Duraludon a couple of times, and then still have to go through one of the 2 prize Pokemon. So yeah, if you're Alex, especially if Robert can't attack this turn, you definitely want to make sure you can boss up and finish off that Regieleki VMAX. So we're Ultra Balling, having a hard time deciding what we're going to get rid of. Looks like we choose the Beach Court. I think it would have been fine getting rid of the Nest Ball as well, because you do have the Miraidons. And at this point, you should know that Alex isn't playing any Path to the Peak. At this point in the tournament, you should just know what your opponent's deck list is, because enough people should be able to give you the information from having played him. This could also potentially be your 3rd time playing him too, because you could always play against a person in day 1, play him again in day 2, and then play them a 3rd time in top 8, which is also day 2, but, you know, twice in day 2 is pretty awful. And looks like we do have the boss's orders. We are going to bring up that Regieleki VMAX yet again. Not going to be able to use the 2nd one as a damage sponge. And we are going to thin some more energies out of the deck here. So we have 2 fighting energies left in deck. So we're going to put those on the Vulpix V-Star. It will take a Raihan to be able to set up the knockout. Or it will take to be able to attack with the Duraludon VMAX at all. It will take a Raihan after the Arceus gets knocked out. But the Vulpix is here and is able to do whatever it needs to do. The Raikou is still going to be in play too after this. And we did see an Ultra Ball was taken off the prize cards. Alex does play one Luminion, so he can always Luminion for another boss's orders as well. He does play at least 2. I want to say 3. Oh, he already has the boss's orders in hand. He took that off the prize cards too. I just remembered. Yeah, so Robert, I mean, this is checkmate. Well, no, not necessarily checkmate. Is there a way that Robert can knock out Arceus V-Star? So he could Electric Generator to the Miraidon. 220. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if he gets another Eleki VMAX, evolves the last Eleki V into the VMAX, and then Electric Generators to the Miraidon, then he can knock out the Arceus. And then Alex will have to have the Raihan to set up the Duraludon in order to win the game. At least on that turn. Or he could stall a turn by just attacking with the Vulpix. And I just saw Raihan in hand too. So he has Boss and Raihan. So yeah, this is checkmate. Alex has already won game 1. Absolutely asinine. We do finally see Electric Generator number 3. Gets 2 energy to the Miraidon. Again, the fact that Miraidon needs 3 energy to attack is just super rough. I mean, it looks like Robert's having a great time, though. But you do need the VMAX on this Regieleki. I think he benched that second Raikou this turn, is the thing he benched. Fleet-footed. Oh, he gets Ultra Ball. Oh, he potentially has it. As long as it's in deck, he has it. He's going to concealed cards first. That's perfectly fine. He gets boss's orders for a Seal Stone. So that's 2 different ways that he could get the Eleki VMAX. He's going to force Seal Stone and pass. I'm not sure why he put the Force Seal Stone to the VMAX, because then he can't use it. And then we just see boss's orders, brings up the Greninja, takes the last prize, and we win the game. Oh yeah, I forgot that the Greninja was on the bench and Alex only had 1 prize. I'm thinking that Alex still needs 2 prize cards, but he knocked out a VMAX. So yeah, that was a very clean game for Alex. That was very one-sided. I do really think that it came down to discarding that second Electric Generator for no reason. It always does this. It always goes from 1080p to 480 out of nowhere. And then I forget to check. I apologize, guys. Something to do with my internet, I'm pretty sure. Sometimes YouTube just endlessly buffers when I try to fast forward into later in the live stream. And then I have to refresh. And then I forget to check if it downgraded by quality or not. So Robert is going to go first here. He does get the Miraidon onto the bench. He is going to use Tandem Unit to get 2 Lightning basic Pokemon to his bench. He will choose a Miraidon and likely a Regieleki. And then he can use the second Miraidon to get another Regieleki and a Raikou or some other combination thereof, as long as the first Miraidon gets a second Miraidon, so that he can use 2 Miraidon abilities in the same turn. So there is Miraidon, there is Raikou, and then we will use the second Miraidon to get at least 1 Regieleki, maybe 2. Depends on if he has a way to get Radiant Greninja and didn't prize it. Yeah, so if he had started Miraidon instead, he could have still gotten another Regieleki V and left the 1 in hand to, like, potentially discard with a Serena. Looks like we just have the Radiant Greninja in hand, so that's pretty great, honestly. We are going to use Switch Cart to go into the Raikou so that we can use Fleet-Footed to draw an extra card. It is Echoing Horn, so that's pretty dead, but if he has a Cram-O-Matic, which I don't see that he does, that would be pretty good. But he did draw one card deeper, so that is perfectly fine. We do start the Radiant Gardevoir here, which is a pretty good start. That's going to reduce the damage that Raikou V does do, along with the Regieleki V and VMAX, which Robert isn't super likely to be able to use. So we are going to Nest Ball. We're going to get that Arceus V. Nest Ball, arguably better than Quick Ball in this deck. The only reason it would be worse is because of not being able to get the Luminion ability with the Nest Ball. But at least you don't have to discard any resources to get an Arceus V into play. So we're going to see that go to the bench. Hopefully we have a double turbo, another basic Pokemon that is a V, and then a retreat so that we can charge up 2 Pokemon here. So there is a Lost City. We do have Luminion. We do have the raw Professor's Research though, so we can just discard the Luminion and the VMAX here. So maybe not going to go for the VMAX this game, but of course sometimes you do just have to discard it. So as long as there is one more VMAX in the deck, you can go for the basic Duraludon if you do so want to. Also going to just Ultra Ball away double turbo, which is a little bit risky, I would say, but not super risky, honestly. So we are going to go for the Duraludon. Alex is saying that this is more important to get earlier than the Vulpix, because you do have to choose one or the other. The Duraludon does one-shot everything but the Regieleki VMAX, whereas the... and it also lives a hit pretty much no matter what. Whereas the Vulpix does have to two-shot, so it gives your opponent time to, you know, have Boss and Escape Rope in hand at the same time. We are going to see the Echoing Horn does put the Luminion V onto the bench, so pretty unfortunate for Alex there. Gets a Luminion on his bench without the value of it. We are going to Fleet-Footed, just draws another Research here. I think we have at least 2 of those in hand. We are looking for Electric Generators here. Ooh, we're going to go for Escape Rope. That's just going to... I think if I'm Alex, I actually put up the Luminion. That's not what you want to do, but you would be protecting your 2 bench Pokemon. Looks like he is going to choose to do the Duraludon. He's already lost a VMAX. As long as he has the other Duraludon V in deck, he can safely sacrifice that. Make it so your opponent does have to get the attach for turn with the double hit off of Electric Generator. Gets 2 Crams in hand, so we might be doing some Cram shenanigans here. Can only play one of them, though. So does he discard Cram with Cram, or does he discard the Ultra Ball with Cram? Oh, yeah, he's gonna discard the Switch Cart, which is what I would have done. Yep. Fails it, of course. I don't think I've seen him hit a single Cram-O-Matic in this match. And his hand is pretty dead. The good thing about Alex, for Alex putting up that Duraludon is it does have a beefy retreat cost. And it is hard to move. It's going to force Alex to have a Switch card. Of course, Alex should be playing at least 1 Escape Rope and 1 Switch. Is what most Arceus decks do play. So, as long as we can get to the V-Star this turn, we should be perfectly fine. Looks like we see Nest Ball and another Duraludon. That's really it here off of this Courses Experiment. So, gonna loss on 2 cards. I guess he's gonna choose the Water Energy, and it looks like is the Nest Ball. I think that's fine. Getting rid of the Water Energy is a little scary, just because now you only have 1 left for the Vulpix. But you could always Raihan it into play onto it if you really have to. We are going to attach Double Turbo, retreat into the Radiant Gardevoir, replace the stadium with Lost City, and pass. I am a little surprised that I didn't see the Trinity Charge this turn. Maybe Alex is thinking that it would be better to just attack with an Arceus V-Star, so would rather have it saved to the bench. It's an interesting decision, but not necessarily an incorrect one. Yeah, you would definitely want to go for the value of the Trinity Charge, but Trinity Nova does get you into the same position as long as it's the next turn. You know that your opponent is bricking, doesn't really have anything going for them. Save yourself as much time as possible. Looks like we are going to attach the water energy to the Arceus, and we are going to do big research, discarding the Raihan, I believe I saw. Does get escape rope and switch. So it looks like we are going to see the switch into the Arceus V. Do we have the V-Star? No, he's just gonna go for the Trinity Charge. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, so a play he neglected doing on the previous turn. He's even gonna put an energy onto the Luminion, so he has a pivot potentially. He's like, no, I don't want to knock out you. But yeah, that research did whiff the Arceus V-Star. Meanwhile, the last game, he had an Ultra Ball where he discarded 2 Arceus V-Stars because he drew too many of them. So that is the bad part about Arceus decks sometimes, is they do clunk up a little bit. Especially when you're playing so many different Pokemon lines like this. Like, if you could just play 4-4 Arceus, it would be a little more consistent. He is playing 4-3. So you'd think that you would still hit the V-Star, but not this time. Not even an Ultra Ball to get it. Because you know he would have went for that if he could. Alright, we do see the Stadium Bump yet again. Beach Court is back into play. We are now down all of the double turbos that Alex has in his deck as well, because he did Ultra Ball 2 of them away, and he retreated one off of the Duraludon before. So it looks like Robert's going to have to research yet again. And Alex is like, oh no, don't research. I don't want to see you do that. Still has a hand of pretty much nothing. This is just how I feel the Miraidon deck always draws. I don't know how it's good enough to make top 8, but he must have drawn pretty hot in every game he was off camera, I'll tell you. We do see Ultra Ball getting rid of Miraidon Nest Ball. Those are pretty dead cards. Might as well get yourself a Regieleki VMAX, so you can start boosting your own damage here. It doesn't really matter this turn, but it will matter in future turns. I would like to see the Duraludon be brought up, but unfortunately the research was already played, so we're not going to be able to see a boss's orders this turn. Of course, this deck does not play catcher, but hey, I mean, it's playing Cram-O-Matic, it might as well at this point, right? Finally, we see an electric generator. I do see a couple of lightning energies, so we will see those go into play. We're going to put one Miraidon and one to the other. You can, in fact, split it up like that. It's a maximum of 2 lightning energies that you can take from the top 5 to attach, but it can go to your bench lightning Pokemon however you want. We are going to see the VMAX get the Forest Seal Stone yet again. Can't only basic Vs use the Forest Seal Stone, or can VMAXs use it? Because I thought it was just basic Vs. No, it's just the Pokemon V can use this power. Okay. The Sky Seal Stone has to be a basic. I'm fairly confident. We are going to see Ultra Ball here, so we're going to finally be able to see an evolution come out. Although we do really need to see maybe Raihan here, or if we just have the Metal Energy in hand would be perfectly fine. Looks like we do. So that's coming in. We are going to get the Duraludon VMAX out. Has 330 HP, is pretty strong. It is a single strike Pokemon. All the single strike Pokemon are very strong and powerful. And we are going to hit for 220. One-shotting that Miraidon. The only one that Robert's been able to set up this whole game. Doing it like it was nothing. And now Robert has to find another electric generator. He only needs to hit one off of it, and then he can attach for a turn. But still, he also needs another Regieleki, another 2 Regieleki VMAXs in play, in all honesty. But he only has 1 Regieleki V. So yeah, if I were Robert, I would be playing it a little bit differently. I either wouldn't be getting the Radiant Greninja out, or I wouldn't be getting the Raikou out. And I would be getting an additional Regieleki V to make sure that I can hit harder. So let's see, 220, 250. I guess it would still only be 310 with 3 of them in play. So you still would be missing the knockout. So I guess ignore my last statement. You have to 2-shot the Duraludon no matter what. That's a hit if I've ever seen one. Oh yeah, so here's what you could do. You can hit with the Regieleki V and then pivot into the Greninja and let the Greninja get knocked out. Because the first attack on the Regieleki V does say, do 30, switch your Pokemon. Then you can evolve it to the VMAX the next turn. And then you'll have... Oh, it also does get boosted by the other 2 Regieleki VMAXs, so you don't even have to necessarily evolve it next turn. I also don't like it when people draw card by card like that. Just pick up the deck and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then put the deck back. It's faster that way. I do know that you're trying not to, like, draw too many cards, especially since you're on stream and everything. You're being careful to not make any misplays, which I do think is a very good thing. But you can do the same thing better by just picking up your deck and then slapping 7 down in front of you, face down, without looking at them. But here we go. We are going to see the, whatever it's called, attack. We are going to do plus... Let's see. So it's switching bolt, so it does 30 plus 60 from the 2 other Regieleki VMAXs. Somehow makes that 70. Oh yeah, because of the Radiant Gardevoir. Makes that 70. And of course, Alex just goes boss's orders, knocks out your dude with energy. What are you gonna do? And is quite literally just riding this skyscraper to victory. Right into the high heavens. Alex is just taking the elevator up to the top floor. Am I just like the Pokemon official commentators now? With my level of punnage? So, yeah, Robert, yet again, needs another electric generator in order to be able to attack this turn. So if he attacks with a VMAX, he does 200, which leaves him at 270. So that's not enough. If you attack him with the Regieleki V, you're doing 140. So that's not enough. If you're attacking with the Raikou, you're doing 120. So that's not enough. So this Duraludon is going to live yet another hit, because there are no more Miraidon in play. Robert did discard one with an Ultra Ball earlier. He would have access to one more. But he still, of course, would need another electric generator double hit in order to even get that going. I think these decks only play 3 Miraidon, so they're all in the discard pile. There is quite literally nothing Robert can do anymore. The best thing he can do is attack with the VMAX. And then attack with another VMAX next turn, I guess? Or attack with the Raikou the next turn, yeah. And then take out that, and then Alex's only attacker is out of play. Yeah, so Robert can still win. It's going to be a very uphill battle trying to match up with the Skyscraper. So he does have to... I'm not sure why he's putting him face down like that. So he is attaching them to a Regieleki VMAX. I'm not opposed to that. I would have kind of liked it to go to the Regieleki V, because we have the Forest Seal Stone, have not used a Forest, V-Star power whatsoever. So you can use that to grab the VMAX out of the deck. But I guess this is fine too. I think you still should evolve your benched Eleki VMAX, or benched Eleki V. Oh, and then Alex says, yeah, I just have another boss in hand, so it doesn't matter. So, yeah, that was, I mean, Robert did, the only mistake I saw from Robert was discarding the second electric generator that one game. But other than that, I mean, there really just wasn't anything he can do. The Duraludon just has too much HP and does 220 to one-shot all your attackers. And the Vulpix didn't even need to come out, which can just wall your entire deck. And yeah, it unfortunately just drew too bad, and Alex drew really too hot. So, I mean, props to both of them. As always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, because it feeds that YouTube algorithm. It's very important, because the YouTube algorithm is always hungry. You don't want him to go hungry. And we will see you guys next time for... they should be doing both top 4 matches. So, see you guys then.